Hey everybody, it's Dana Joy from Got Joy Creations. I'm going to show you how to make a tag today. You know, sometimes you're wrapping a gift and you just don't really want a bow and you don't know really how to finish it off really. So in order for me to finish off some of my gifts, I like to use tags instead of bows. So let's get started. I'm going to use some great products from Ann Butler's Design. And the first thing we're going to use is just grab a vanilla tag. And I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of it to get it to stick to my craft mat. I don't want it moving all over the place. Next, I'm going to grab a stencil, and I really love the little holes in the stencil. It's a burlap stencil from Tim Holtz. Okay, and I'm going to grab some painter's tape to hold my stencil in place. Now, you don't have to use painter tape. If you have washi tape or any other low tack tape, you can use it the same way. So I'm just going to make sure I get that lined up pretty good. Like I said, I like the design that's on here, and it's going to look really pretty. But I kind of just want to make sure it's still kind of in the middle of the stencil. I'm going to add a little bit more tape across the top and some down on each side as well. You don't have to go overboard with it, but I just like to make sure that my stencil doesn't move because, you know, this is a very fine print on this, and you don't want it shifting while you're rubbing your medium over it. So I'm just going to put some tape on the last side there. Okay, that looks perfect. And I'm going to use some Ann Butler's. This is Colorbox Crafters ink, and this one is Aquamarine. And I'm going to use a Colorbox blender tool. Now this ink is so rich. It really saturates your applicator, so you really don't need much. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. And as you see, as I work it in, I'm not going to really have to go back to get a lot more ink because there's a lot that's going to be on this sponge already. So I'm just lightly rubbing it in all over the little holes, trying to make sure I get, you know, a good amount of coverage. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be random. All right, so I really like how that worked out. So I'm going to go ahead and close that ink up. And I'm going to grab another Colorbox ink, and this one is called Bark. I really love this dark brown color. So I'm just going to remove that one sponge because I like to keep my sponges separate for each color. So I'm going to remove that one and grab the sponge tip that I have for my Bark ink. Again, I'm just going to come in from the edge and bring in some of that brown color. And this is going to make such a pretty tag. I've already made quite a few of these, and I really love the way that they turned out. So I'm just going to, as I said, just keep coming in from the corners. I don't want any ink directly in the middle of my stencil work, or in the middle of my tag rather. I just kind of want it floating in on the sides. So I'm just going to lightly rub in the rest. And I think that's a good enough coverage for this tag. I'm going to close up my ink and get that out of the way. And then look how pretty it is when you lift it up. Oh, I just love this tag. Love it, love it, love it. Now that ink is very wet, so I need to make sure that I go ahead and heat set it because I don't want it to smear. So now I'm going to use this 1-inch Diamonds and Plaid set. I'm just going to use the plaid stamp. I'm also going to go ahead and use my Bark ink again. This is a pretty juicy ink pad, so I don't really need to get too much ink on my stamp. I'm just going to put this plaid look just down one side of my tag. I really like how the plaid works with the burlap. So it's a very strong print though, so I don't want to add it all over my card. So I'm just going to stick to just that right hand side. I'm going to put one last one at the bottom. And maybe one more at the top. Let's go ahead and stamp that down there. Perfect. This ink is very rich. I really like this ink. And I like the blue on this tag as well. So I'm just going to grab a sentiment that I picked up earlier this month. And I'm going to ink it up with the Bark. Oops. Got a little bit on my block there, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just clean that off so it does not get on my tag. See how juicy it is. I tell you, these Colorbox inks are fabulous. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up in the middle of my tag. I think that looks good. and I just make sure I press down firmly so I can get it on the first try. Ah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Let's go ahead and clean that up. And don't you really like how good this looks together? So again, I'm going to have to heat set this, otherwise it's going to smear, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, I think that looks good. Let me go ahead and give you a close-up. Oh, doesn't that look so pretty together? I love these two prints together. It makes a really great card. But what I'm going to do is grab a distress marker because I want to outline around my sentiment. So this one is frayed burlap. And I'm just going to go around each one of the letters to kind of like ground it so it just doesn't look like my sentiment is kind of like floating in the air, if that makes any sense. It's just going to give it a very faint shadow. And that's all I'm really looking for. I'm not really looking to outline it all. I'm just looking to give it a little bit of a shadow around each one of my my letters. I just think it looks pretty nice, and it gives a little bit more depthness to the sentiment. Okay, I'm just about finished up, and that's what it looks like. So just gives a little bit of a shadow. Perfect. Now here's the package that I wrapped, and I want to mimic that same plaid look along one edge of my package. So again, I reached back for my plaid stamp and my bark ink. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and put it down one side of the package. And as you can tell, I keep saying about this Color Box inks and the Ann Butler colors. They look fabulous together. And see, this was just nothing but like some paper. That's all it was. It's like craft paper on a roll. All right, so I think that looks pretty good together. I'm going to go ahead and finish off my tag. I had put a button on there earlier and a little bit of this twine as well. So I'm going to have to put some right through the top of the hoop right there. So basically, as you can see, I used some fabulous products today, and I brought together a really simple tag for your holiday cards or packages. Again, great for a mail card, as we don't want a whole bunch of flowers and glitter on our tags for our mails in our lives. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off, and I'm going to pop that up on some foam dots. Okay, and that's going to complete our project today. I'm going to have links to all of the products that I use down in my comment section. So go ahead and pick up some great Ann Butler design products and get to crafting. Have fun, everybody, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Want to see some more videos by me? Make sure to subscribe right here. Or you can click on one of the 3 boxes and it'll take you to another video. Also, please join me on all of my social media sites. I would love to have you as a follower. See you soon.